So you play video games, Have you ever played games with your family?
Video game soundtracks. What magical gaming tunes do you enjoy listening to?
We've got stories. We've got excitement.
But first,
let's get those cogs turning.
gaming news of the week.
Let's start this out with a wonderful long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Back when EA acquired Star Wars.
Yes, and Respawn. Because Respawn is actually awesome, believe it or not. If you never played Titanfall, get over yourself and play it because it's actually fun.
Respawn Entertainment. So really, EA's the publisher, Respawn's the game developer. It all worked out. But guess what?
Star Wars Fallen Order is becoming a franchise.
Yay!
Yarn,
Finally!
yarn.
A great Star Wars game is finally going to get another great Star Wars game. At least we hope it's great.
Because, like I've said, that's the best Star Wars story since the originals.
Original what?
Star Wars movies, episode 4, 5, and 6. That's how I feel. But Fallen Order, dude? Fallen Order.
Fallen Order's
Dude.
great. Except for when it's not. It's only not fun when it's hard. And it's currently hard for me right now because I'm stuck at a boss and I'm salty about it still.
And he's sad and crying about it.
Still. But it's okay. I'll get
Still.
over it and I'll eventually beat it. Or also come to the dark side and break my disc in half. I don't know what'll happen. We'll see. But what I played so far is badass. So thank you, EA, for letting Respawn continue with a new Star Wars Fallen Order game. And hopefully we'll hear more of that. Well, I was going to say at E3, but it got canceled! Hopefully we'll hear about that sometime in the future.
No, it's going to start being called CE3.
CE3?
COVID E3.
Oh, God.
It's all going to be online.
Oh, God. Well, you know what? I think Nintendo had a hand to play in that. They went and did Nintendo Directs years ago, and now all of a sudden everyone thinks it's a great idea. Hey, let's just do video conferences for all of our stuff now. Nintendo's been doing it for years, and we made fun of them. Look at us now.
And Nintendo was like, silly plebeians.
Yes, exactly. So basically, they did it before it was cool. So Nintendo is the original hipster in the gaming industry.
Yahoo! Next bit of news.
Xbox Series X gameplay reveal live stream. We discussed this last episode. They were going to go live May 7th. Derp Taku and I watched the event.
Yes, it was glorious in its own way, even though it was Microsoft, and I can play all of them on my PC.
Yeah, PC, Master Race, PC, Best Race. However, like I said last time, we're celebrating games, and oh boy, did they have a lot of games to show. A total of 12, actually. The event lasted about an hour. They debuted games as world premiere CG trailers for a good chunk of the games. And not a lot of gameplay was had.
Yeah, except for Bright Memory Infinite, and that's only because that's already a game I have on Steam.
And speaking of Bright Memory Infinite, why don't we talk about it? Why don't we start with the first game, and why don't we dive into a little bit of our reactions on what we thought about each one?
It is a more or less like Doom style or Shadow Warrior kind of gameplay, and it's developed by one person. One singular person, and this game is straight up one of the most beautiful FPS you can play right now.
Yeah, are you serious? One person?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. It's one person.
Holy crap, because to me that looked like a Microsoft version of Killzone, which is already a beautiful looking game. One person.
No, it's one dude in China.
Damn!
One dude in China is making this.
Well, I'm impressed. Holy crap.
Yeah, the game is very gorgeous. Like I said, it has a lot of, it's very fast-paced first-person action with some melee combat, so it's very reminiscent of like a Shadow Warrior game.
They also debuted Dirt 5.
It's racing.
Yeah, Microsoft off-road racing experience. It looks like Dirt 4, but shinier and prettier. I'm really excited for this next one, though, Dirt. Scorn.
Yeah,
It's Scorn is one of those games where it's an H.R. Geiger wet dream come to life. A game inspired by the artwork of H.R. Geiger, and if you don't know who that is, he helped design the look of the Alien movies, for Alien, Aliens, Alien Resurrection. That look style was because of him. And this game looks ugly in a beautiful way. It's disgusting. It's got muscles. It's got bones. It's creepy as fuck.
I really don't like how you put it as a wet dream with how sexual that trailer was.
Dude, have you watched the making of the first Alien movie? Because
I don't care.
That is the best description I have for even that movie. This game follows its footsteps.
Okay, so here's my concern. The gameplay video they originally showed for this looked cool. It looked like a very messed up, very weird, disgusting FPS game. And then this trailer comes around, there was no gameplay in it. It was just a trailer to show off the grotesqueness of it. It looked like Agony with creepy bug things and sliminess.
Definitely a lot of sliminess.
Not demons. It reminded me of Agony, and I hope it doesn't go down the same route. That it was just awkward.
Yeah, there was no gameplay show, just landscapes, really, just an overall look of the game. But the game was originally announced in 2014 with an unsuccessful Kickstarter. It disappeared after their second Kickstarter in 2017, and now it magically has reappeared at the Microsoft Series X game reveal 3 years later. So I'm just happy that the game's still alive, and it is going to come out, and I'll eventually get to play it, because as disgusting as this game looks, I am interested in it.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm worried. And then next on the list was what? Chorus? Is it Chorvs or is it Chorus?
When I look at the name, I read it as Chorvs because it's Chorvs. But is it supposed to be pretending to be a U? I'm gonna go with Chorvs.
Okay, we'll go or somebody will correct us. It's Corvs. And we'll be like, I'm sorry.
Well, it's like our argument back in the day when we were arguing, is it called Chocobo or Kokobo? And I said it's called Chocobo because you don't call chocolate cocklet.
Yeah, I admit that was me that thought it was Kokobo.
I know, and that was my argument against it. I'm going to do the same thing with Chorvs. There's a CH in there. It's a ch sound.
Well, it is. But, choir and chorus does have a CH.
So does Chronicles. So does Chronicles.
Yeah, and Chronicles. So we're going to go with Chorvs, though. We'll get corrected, and that's okay.
Derp, go downstairs and do your chores. Do the dishes.
You can kiss our ass, and Blue, you can kiss mine. Anyways, so it's Microsoft's answer to Eve Valkyrie, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, it's got a flight in space that reminds me of Star Fox.
Yeah, and with the Destiny feel. Overall,
I didn't know how to read it. You just had this kick-ass pilot and a really futuristic aerial assault in space, and I'm like, cool. Is it Eve Valkyrie? Is it Star Fox? Is it Destiny? I don't know, but it looked interesting. Vampire Masquerades Bloodlines 2. I remember hearing about the first game, but I never played it, so I don't really have anything for this game.
The original Vampire Masquerade was like of course, vampire-based, older city. I don't know when it's based, but just first person running around being a vampire with superpower or vampire powers and running along their story. I never really played the first one too much. I just know it's the same line of what they showed for Bloodlines 2.
Okay.
And it's just super pretty.
It looked okay.
And the trailer was very odd.
It looked very odd and wacky.
And I couldn't figure out what it was until they got to the end and they started showing the gameplay from the first person. I'm like, oh okay, it's vampire. I knew what they were going for after that. But the hanging the people with the Joker smiles and stuff like that, I was like, ew.
Yeah, I didn't know how to read the game. And after they announced the title, I was like, okay, apparently there's a first one, and I missed out on that one too.
Call of the Blue. I mean, the Sea.
Call of the Sea.
Call of the Blue.
I liked this one. This one piqued my interest because it had some beautiful looking water graphics.
Well, of course, if it's got water graphics, you're all in. And I actually don't remember what this looked like because I might have missed this one.
It reminded me of the game Firewatch, but you're on a tropical island.
Interesting.
It looked beautiful. I would like to see more of it. After that, there was a game called The Ascent, which had a very cyberpunk vibe to it, but a style gameplay that reminded me of Diablo and Darksiders Genesis.
And I'm okay with all of this.
It did look really cool, though. I liked it.
I love Diablo-style type games. They make me happy.
We'll have to look into this one when it comes out. I'm really excited for this next game, though.
Oh, you mean Silent Hill?
Close.
Dude, I'm sorry. Okay. Initial reaction, you see that trailer, you see what's going on, you hear the music, you hear Silent Hill. Straight up.
Yeah?
It is Silent Hill music because, of course, it's Akira Yamaoka. Yeah.
So the game he's talking about, guys, it's called The Medium.
Yeah, that one.
So that was the whole take I got. It's Microsoft's answer to Silent Hill.
Yeah, the paint starts peeling away. I instantly thought the Silent Hill movie when they brought that kind of look into the way the world goes away.
Yeah.
It's peeling and it goes into the other world. I'm thinking, okay, Silent Hill, cool. Silent Hill, here's to mess with Blue. They're bringing out another Silent Hill game, and then it comes and says The Medium, and I'm like, that doesn't say Silent Hill. That's Silent Hill. It's still Silent Hill to me. It's still Silent Hill. Even after the interview with the dude saying it was based on a medium who's going between the world, I'm like, it's Silent Hill.
Yeah. What I find funny is even when they interviewed one of the producers on the game, he says the best horror game ever made is Silent Hill 2, and that's where the foundation for this game came from. And then when they just came out of nowhere and just, oh yeah, by the way, we got the composer for Silent Hill series in this game, Akira Yamaoka, and I just about leapt out of my seat going, you gotta be fucking kidding me. No way.
I heard it. I knew it was Akira when I was listening to the music. I'm like, Silent Hill.
But when you got that official confirmation, it's like, oh, sweet.
I get what they're going for. It looks cool. Looks really awesome. I still think it's Silent Hill.
Well, if Konami is never going to do anything with their properties, I'll take this one. I'm definitely keeping an eye on this one. This one's definitely up your alley, though.
Yes, this is all kind of me.
This is nothing but you.
Oh, it looks so much fun.
What is it?
It's Scarlet Nexus. It is a Bandai Namco game, so it looks very Bandai Namco in the way they do their art. Like, it's very similar. It's very pretty, very colorful, very, very bright and charming colors.
Very anime.
But it's like a spectacle fighter with anime style, and it looks just really pretty and awesome. And I don't know, I just can't, I want it now.
Stick around if you don't mind some cream in your jeans.
I immediately thought of you, though, Derp. As soon as I saw it, like, Derp's got to see this. Now.
Dude, I was watching it. Of course I saw it.
If I would have known you were watching it at the same time I would have put you on speakerphone so we could, like, watch it together.
Aww. Second Extinction.
Okay, here's my first initial reaction. It's Turok with 4-player co-op.
Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs.
Yeah, but the dinosaurs totally reminded me of Turok. And then it made me miss Turok. And they need to make a new Turok game. But we'll get that with Second Extinction. And then Derp, you and I can play. Co-op.
Happy.
Yay! How about this next one, though? Yakuza, Like a Dragon.
So this is Yakuza Final Fantasy style.
It looked interesting. It's Yakuza for sure. I got nothing but Yakuza vibes. But then this guy's got magical powers with a bat, and the only thing I could think of was, is it like Yakuza? It mixed with Dragon Ball Z?
It's not magical powers. You'd have to actually... It's like their hype mode. Like, it's not actual magical powers or anything like that. That's just like they're charged up and ready to go type thing.
That makes more sense now. And I can actually now picture all the anime backgrounds when they're like charging up in slow motion and the backgrounds are moving super fast. That's what that reminds me of.
It's over 9,000! 9,000? You gotta be kidding me!
They didn't show the gameplay in this, but they've shown gameplay of it before.
Okay.
And it is a Final Fantasy turn-based system.
Oh, really?
It's not like the other Yakuza games where it's a fighting, like, real time type thing. It's a turn-based action game.
Okay, that's different. That's cool. I definitely got Yakuza vibes for sure, but that changes the gameplay a bit. I'm interested.
And they have a summon for a lobster that beats the piss out of the enemy.
Wow.
And then coming to the end of our list with the quote-unquote gameplay trailer of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
You mean that short teaser trailer that was nothing but CG graphics that lasted less than a minute?
It was all in-game graphics, though. That was the gameplay.
Bullshit.
Okay, look, I believe that it was all the in-game graphics, but it was all pre-rendered animations and stuff, or it was like well shot things of their animations that were close up and it didn't show the actual gameplay. It was just wasn't the actual gameplay.
I agree. Now these are games coming out for the Xbox Series X, also coming soon to PC near you.
With the Xbox Game Pass, more than likely.
So the idea is you get to see all these great, awesome, great. I said it again. Great, awesome. It's great, awesome. You get to see all these great, awesome games again in their high definition glory, how they should look on the Xbox Series X. It's great, awesome.
I want you guys to know and to picture how hard I am face palming right now because he did not do that intentionally.
I did not.
Again.
In our very first episode, for those of you who missed out, I don't know how to use words, and I described something as great awesome in our first introduction episode. And it was so funny, we made a t-shirt out of it. And I just said it again, not even thinking about it. Let's backtrack. Let's backtrack.
Dude, when you and I were working as dishwashers, what did we call ourselves? We were not dishwashers, we were...
Hydroceramic engineers.
Yeah, baby, it's all about the title, man. It's all about the title.
Doesn't matter about the title, doesn't matter. No matter how you look at it, it was still dishwashing.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. But you couldn't get in without coops.
Down at the BK Lounge.
You work at the BK Lounge?
Are we really bringing Dane? You know how many people are gonna stop watching this right here as we make a Dane Cook joke?
Well, dude, it was our generation, so whatever. People can get over themselves. They can't take a joke.
Monopoly, fuck this game.
It's great, awesome. It's great, awesome. Why did I say it like that? It's great, awesome.
Because you're just doing a great, awesome job, sir.
It's great, awesome. Can we put that on a t-shirt with my face, with smiling smugly? It's great, awesome.
Derp, that was great, awesome.
Blue.
Oh, shit.
You're derp shittery.
You're derp shittery. Wow, that's actually pretty clever, too. Should put derp shittery on a t-shirt.
Not safe for work.
Guys, overall, the event was fun. I liked it. I had a lot of fun. I got to see some new games on the Xbox. Not only that, but Microsoft debuted a quick slideshow that showcased all the studios who are making games for the Xbox Series X, and I counted them all. I literally took that screenshot, paused it, put it above my TV, and just literally finger counted every single one of them. There are over 142 gaming studios making games that will be on the Xbox's new console, also coming to PC. But that was cool to see. 142 game studios is a lot of studios making games. So no matter if you're going to be gaming on your computer or on the Xbox, games are coming. And that's exciting in and of itself.
I have a question off to the side here.
What's that?
Now, did you literally count each individual one, or did you just do the graphing and multiplication thing?
No, I literally enlarged the picture of every game studio, and I counted each one by one.
Why didn't you just count across and then count down and then multiply?
Because some of the game studios didn't line up perfectly, because some of them are long names, some of them are short, some have different logos that are the others, and they didn't even them out.
Okay, I was just going to try and give you shit, but I failed.
I know.
I have failed in my mission to give you shit.
Trust me, I wanted to use multiplication, but Microsoft made it harder for me.
I want to say what else is new. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, they don't even got the paperclip anymore.
Yeah. But, I don't know, I really liked it. What did you think, Derp, overall?
It was good. The games were good. Overall, I would have liked to see more gameplay of the games, because it's not like gameplay hasn't been shown of every single game that came out today except the medium.
True.
I mean, Scarlet Nexus had gameplay.
True.
That actually showed gameplay.
Yeah.
Bright Memory Infinite, but that's already a game on Steam technically, just they showed the new content that it's going to be when it releases. I don't know. They didn't show a ton of gameplay, but at the same time, there were a couple that showed an abundance of gameplay, so it was cool to see some of the games, but the games I actually wanted to see gameplay for, like fully, and was expecting to see gameplay for, did not.
Like what?
Like Scorn. When they showed Scorn, I expected to see more gameplay. When I saw the game, I knew it was Scorn because of the style of it.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that game, I'm like, cool. They're going to show some gameplay of it. Nothing. Just some sexually frustrated teenager's dream come to some nightmarish life.
Well, that's also what made it very confusing for a lot of people out there. The title of this, when they announced it, was Xbox Series X Gameplay Reveal Livestream. And we hardly got gameplay. And it caused a controversy that it's blown out of proportion. All over Microsoft's YouTube videos for it, all of their official Twitter accounts, and there are a ton of video game publications online who've been talking about this. I read one specifically on GameRant.com, and they quote-unquote said, from Twitter to YouTube, the backlash to the Xbox Series X's gameplay stream is everywhere. Microsoft was fairly liberal with its use of the term gameplay, with fans calling out the company for promising footage of the Xbox Series in action and not delivering. And I actually agree with that statement, because when they say, hey, we're going to show gameplay for the system, basically seeing the system in action, we didn't get that. We got a bunch of CGI trailers for a lot of the games.
Because in that respect, when they're saying they're going to show live gameplay, it would be like, hey, we're going to sit here with the Xbox Series X because you already know what it looks like, and we're going to play some games.
Yeah.
And we're going to show them played right on the screen.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely.
And they didn't do that.
They did not.
They did not.
They did not.
I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
The broadcast, which showed off a handful of trailers for a number of new and pre-existing titles, was incredibly light on gameplay, with most of the footage being cinematic trailers or hastily strung together gameplay montages. We gonna get a montage!
We did get a montage in a few of those, just to say, hey, titles are working. This is what it's gonna look like.
AKA Valhalla.
Yeah. The showcase didn't offer much of an example of how the Xbox Series X played or what its new capabilities could achieve. Which is also...
Which I laughed because Sony, while they haven't shown what it actually looks like yet, they've shown what it's capable of.
That's true.
When they showed off Spider-Man running on it. This PS4 Spider-Man, how it had like literally zero load time.
That's true.
It had no load time.
Everything in the Xbox reveal was described as no load time, but they actually showed it in the PlayStation.
Yeah, and it's like that's showing what it's capable of.
Yeah. But I guess the Valhalla was the straw that hit the camel's back for a lot of people.
It was also the last game showed.
Exactly.
So that would be the last straw.
Well, I got to admit, like, they literally just showed the world premiere trailer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We were talking about this last week and how pumped and excited we are. And then all of a sudden, Xbox is like, hey, we're going to show you the first gameplay footage of it. And we're like, oh, dude, sweet. I got to see this. We didn't get that, though. So that's why it was really disappointed for a lot of people out there.
The biggest point of gameplay we got was that cinematic shot of him spinning, throwing two axes, one direction, then spinning and throwing the other to his side. Which looked like a cinematic, like a pre-rendered animated scene.
Yeah, I guess it showcases what we will be able to do in the game, but this is basically just, you know, not actual gameplay showing how to do it, but what it will look like. It's a representation. Yeah. So, but here's the fun part on Derp, because I was reading a lot about this after this whole thing happened. Here's the fun part: the entire hour-long presentation on YouTube has 44,000 likes. And 33,000 dislikes. Now, there's more likes than dislikes, but that's a lot of dislikes.
That is it. When you got a 50-50 almost, it's 60-40 pretty much.
You can't discount the sheer high number of dislikes, because a lot, and all the comments on the YouTube specifically, just they felt cheated, and they started arguing about the word gameplay meant. It was interesting to read. The shorter version, called First Look Xbox Series X Gameplay, has 19,000 likes and 24,000 dislikes. This is basically a short recap of that whole presentation.
So evening the numbers out, it's actually almost 50-50.
It is. It is. Now, the comments in all these videos, as well as their Twitter posts, which I did go to their Twitter to see some, it's vastly negative, and we covered why. I couldn't find a positive comment on YouTube at all. Twitter had a couple. but it was buried in like one positive comment out of hundreds of negative comments. And after learning about all of this and reading about all of this and people's feelings about the whole event, I had to leave social media to find my center again because it was just too much salt to bear.
I'll never make it! I'll never make it!
Tweak! Calm down, son. Remember what Dr. Norris told you. Find your center.
My center! My center! Calm. Puppies. Wait! Wait!
I can understand why people are unhappy, and I can understand what they were expecting and what they didn't get, but that got real intense for me real fast, dude. Like, damn.
But too much salt. You've seen me play Bloodborne. How could that be?
Well, it's one thing to play a game and be salty at it. It's another thing to be just, like, teased by something from a company and then fail to deliver, you know?
But Blue, can you freeze the platforms?
God damn, that's still the most salty experience I ever had in my life. Look, if I just, in order to give the listeners context of what you're describing, if I would just say Metroid Other M, they'll be like, oh, you don't even explain, dude. I totally understand now.
There's platforms you can freeze at one point in the game, and he didn't realize that.
And not only did I not realize I could freeze the platforms, but I didn't even realize I still had the Ice Beam. In older Metroid games, you can have the Ice Beam and the Wave Beam at the same time. But as soon as I picked up the Wave Beam, it's like the Ice Beam didn't exist anymore, and it was confusing. I didn't realize I had to charge my Wave Beam, and then it will be ice. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay with that. I'm just really, 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 really annoyed right now. Oh my god, I hate this. This is the stupidest part of the whole goddamn... Fuck! Oh my god! This is a thing? Where did I miss this part of the manual, or I missed this part in the gameplay tutorial, because this was not obvious for me at the time, and I spent probably 30 minutes trying to climb a flight of stairs to get to the top before I realized I was doing it wrong. I've never been so salty in a video game in my life.
Aside from Fallen Order right now.
Aside from Jedi Fallen Order, which I'm still stuck at a boss. However, that saltiness is what people felt about this gameplay, quote-unquote, presentation. I mean, but I understand and I get it. Part of me is like, yeah, dude, I'm just excited I got to see games, and the other part of me is like, maybe this conference was overhyped, certainly poorly marketed, with their word choice of gameplay. An average gamer, though, if they see a post, if you have an average gamer, and the post says, first look at Xbox Series X gameplay, I'm obviously hoping I'm going to see how games play on the new system. But this presentation didn't do that.
No.
And all you can say to that is, shame on you for confusing people, Microsoft, and for not being clear with your intentions.
It should have just been game reveals.
Pretty much.
Not gameplay.
But on a more positive note, thank you, Microsoft, for showing a glimpse into things to come. Hopefully your next presentation will be better, which, by the way, they said in July they will be showing first-party Microsoft games, including Halo Infinite, which could be fun. It's Halo. It's Halo.
I mean, it's Halo. It's gonna be Master Chief running around kicking the shit out of things. It's like Doom guy kicking the shit out of demons. He's just the Doom guy kicking the shit out of aliens.
And we'll be rooting for him each time we see him. Personal gaming highlights of the week.
Well, I'll start it out. I'll take away your thing to saying, Derp, what do you got? And I'll just say, okay, I got this. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, because you know what? All I did was play like Monster Hunter this week, and I got swapped to a new schedule, so my sleep schedule is all kinds of different and messed up, which is why this Cogcast is late this week. Aside from that, just my random working on the Glix stuff and playing Monster Hunter.
How are you doing on Monster Hunter?
I'm just doing a lot of the old content stuff, getting that finished up that I never did, just optional things. And then just waiting for you to buy a new computer so you can play or try out the other fixes if you haven't done that yet.
I'll try out the other fixes. I tried playing Monster Hunter World, guys, and my CPU was running hot for a long period of time, and then the game started glitching out on me and freaking out, and it looked like the entire Monster Hunter world was stuck in a club full of nothing but strobe lights, bright lights, blinks, and it was hard to see where I was going. So
it was a glorious gift, though.
Yeah, it made me realize that I need to upgrade my computer, and I am in the process of doing that. I have enjoyed what I've played so far. I did put a couple more hours into it because Derp graciously gifted me the game, and I wanted to give it a good chance. And what I'm playing so far is awesome. It's just my computer is not.
Your graphics card is.
Oh, my graphics card's beautiful, but my processor
Your
is
CPU
old.
is a dinosaur.
Yes, but it's okay. We're going to turn this franchise around, and it's going to be awesome.
So what did you do this week?
I actually did stuff. I streamed Shenmue 2 after our latest episode of our Cogcast. We had a blast. I got a lot farther. Currently, the game is like playing a soap opera. Ryo wants revenge for his father's death, and you have to you have a master at a temple who's trying to calm you down by making you catch leaves with your fingers by swiping 2 fingers. It's a fun mini game.
I got it.
Got it. Just
now you know
do it.
Yes, you promised. Please let me see the Uling Shu.
You don't sound like you've calmed yourself.
But
catching it once or twice doesn't rid you of impatience.
Do it 100 times and I am out.
Catch the leaves 3 times consecutively.
Ah!
You're serious?
Only then will we talk about the Uling Shu.
I caught it 3 times. Give me the book.
Understand?
Nah, I need you to do it 3 more times.
3 times in a row.
God damn it.
I don't have a choice.
Yes, you do. Just kick in the door and steal the goddamn book. Go back to the docks. Get a job. Buy an apartment. You don't need her.
No good.
The game is fantastic, and replaying it is just bringing me back to my youth when I played it when it first launched. And I'm looking forward to streaming more of that game soon. I am enjoying Shenmue again. I'm really excited to see how far it goes. But the one takeaway out of the game that's challenging to me is the arm wrestling that I was telling you about earlier, Derp. When you arm wrestle in the game, you have to button mash, and you basically button mash the A button over and over and over again. And I'm really good at button mashing thanks to Star Fox 64. But this game challenges my button mashing skills so much that when he says, ready, set, go, and you have to button mash, you also have to use the D-pad on certain arrows that pop up to put yourself in a better advantage to winning. And as soon as I try to do that, I lose my edge, and my wrist starts to hurt from tapping so fast and so long that I end up losing. There's 4 guys you can arm wrestle. I'm still stuck on guy number 2.
See, Blue's all about speed, not stamina.
I'm trying really hard to work on both. But practice makes perfect, though, right, Derp?
Yep. Exactly, buddy.
But it is fun. However, I did a surprise stream last Wednesday. I ended up playing Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance. Remember a couple Cogcast episodes ago I was telling you I had an itch to play Metroid?
Yep.
I finally did it. Finally streamed it. It's the remake of the first Metroid game. Guys, if you've never played it before, I highly recommend you do. I figured why not stream something different and kind of just get back into the whole streaming world and do something extra during the weekday, because I don't usually stream on the weekdays. I designed a really simple but slick-looking Game Boy Advance template. I had a lot of fun designing that. And I figured I'd play a couple hours of the game. I ended up playing for over 6.5 hours, and we ended up beating the game in one stream.
Yep, and you got to see Zero Suit Samus in all her glory.
It was glorious. The game was a combination of amazing and salty, because Mother Brain turned out to be quite a pain in the ass.
I was laughing.
Blue Salt does not come out often, but it did in this sitting, and Mother Brain done pissed me off. I died so much. I'm actually trying to put together a compilation of the salt.
Mama done knock you out.
Nah, but in the end, though, we completed the game, and I had the great time, and it was awesome.
After the salt subsided.
After the salt subsided, absolutely.
And it wasn't even that he couldn't beat Mother Brain. After he did beat Mother Brain, he couldn't platform.
No, I couldn't. You know, it's a lot different playing it on the GameCube with a GameCube controller than it is on a Game Boy Advance. I couldn't I'm very good at Metroid games, but I haven't played this one in a while, and it was a little challenging. I actually started to feel like I was losing my edge, like I was losing my gaming ability. Like, I know I'm good at this game. What is going on right now? And it was making me think about life choices. Son of a bitch, shut the front door! This is bullshit! Ah! I can't do anything. Oh my god, alright. I'm taking a quick break, guys. This is stupid. I can't believe I can't stand on a platform and finish this thing. But in the end, I beat it and it all worked out, so.
Well, we congratulate you, Blue. Fine job.
Speaking of beating games, Derp.
You beat a certain remake.
I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Spoilers!
Okay, no spoilers. Obviously, no spoilers. However, I will say it was an amazing ride. I had so many damn feels. I cannot wait for the next chapter. This game has me asking a million questions. It keeps me guessing. It makes me want more Final Fantasy VII stuff. So yeah, that's all I'll say. I absolutely love the game. It was worth the wait. I'm a happy camper. And I know everyone keeps saying Jessie best girl, Tifa best girl, Aerith best girl. No. Fuck that. Madam M best girl.
So now that we understand each other, what manner of massage do you desire?
We're not customers.
Then you are...
Hoping you can help us get an invite to an audition with Dawn.
For the love of... Say another word and I'll shove this fan right down your throat. Oh. So, you want what? A favor? Well, here's the thing. This is a massage parlor, a respectable establishment. But if you don't require our services, then tell me! Is there any reason I shouldn't have you dragged outside and shot for wasting my valuable time? Well...
Oh, God.
I got a thing for Madam M. Now you need to beat it, Derp.
I do. I'm only on chapter 4.
I put about just under 40 hours of gameplay. I think I ended at like 36 hours of gameplay.
I'm at about 6 or 7, I think.
You've got plenty of time.
Gaming streaming goals of the week.
Nothing really major here. Still trying to stay super chill, balanced, at peace with life. I made a lot of highlights and clips from my previous stream the other day. It's been a while since I made some gaming videos. I figured I'd start putting some together. What I'm finding challenging as I gather all these clips and highlights is Shenmue 2 specifically is a large game with a lot of scenarios that span more than 10 minutes in many cases, and quick, short highlights don't really work for a game like this. So I'm working on ways to put out a few fun, videos highlighting some of the scenarios we've been running into. But it's fun, though. I am enjoying the game, and I want to share some fun moments with the game. And I love editing videos and putting them together from previous streams, so it's keeping me interested and it's keeping me busy. So I plan on plugging away on that a bit, but that's all I really got at the moment. What about you?
Well, with my new schedule, I'm trying to get situated into that and figure out how to live my life again. Because for those of you who don't know, I now work a graveyard shift of 12 to 8 a.m.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely a different lifestyle choice, absolutely. That's also why, like you said earlier, these Cogcasts they will be coming out a little bit later. We are changing when they're coming out because we all have to readjust to properly produce these, and that's okay. I'm actually loving this afternoon shift right now with this Cogcast. This is nice.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got a positive out of this.
Yeah, super chill.
But aside from that, I wake up at 11 p.m. or so, 12 a.m., and it's my days off, so I have nothing to do during my time off.
You should,
so I guess
stream.
It's I could, or work on my tabletop.
Or do both. Yeah, at the same time.
There's no one on at that time.
Well, you don't know that. I mean, if you start playing games or doing something different at a different time, you're going to get a whole new subsect of people who just wake up like you, and from different parts of the world. Expand the paradigm horizons. I don't know. I'm just thinking glass half full, thinking positively. You never know.
It's a possibility.
And the possibilities are limitless. Derp,
And what?
Derp, every time you send me into the tunnel that is advertising, I get lost in the void, and the paradigm starts to shift, and then I get spit back out into reality, and then I have to readjust and figure out where the hell I am.
But you know what? We always come back when?
At the drop of a paradigm.
That's the end of the Cogcast, guys. You know that's the end because we said it here.
Let's backtrack. Let's backtrack.
Just kidding.
Psych, just kidding. Derp's got jokes. Ha ha!
So on to our topics, which, holy hell, you guys.
We might have to start narrowing this down to one topic a week because it is so in-depth and so involved, it's hard to keep up. But you know what? We also love that there's so much content to choose from, so please don't stop. Please keep going. Please keep doing what you're doing because you're awesome.
You guys were so descriptive this week. It was kind of insane.
It's insane in a good way.
So Blue.
So Derp.
Did you grow up with your family gaming? And if you did, do they game with you now? Or do you wish they gamed more or less?
My family is big and spread across the United States. My parents divorced when I was very young, and they all eventually got remarried and had kids of their own. So I've been exposed to a lot of family and video games. So, yeah,
I know those feels.
Yeah, I did grow up with members of my family, and we all gamed in some form. When my mother remarried, I acquired a stepbrother. His name's Trey. Trey was my player 1 for a good 10 years of my life. I was always the player 2, and this is probably why I love Luigi so much. But in our previous Cogcast, when we talked about the first consoles we've ever played, I told the story of how I got the Nintendo Entertainment System from Santa Claus, which was like back in 1989. Well,
Santa's a good guy.
Santa's a great guy. He got me a Nintendo. Well, that Nintendo was a gift for both me and Trey. Growing up, we would play a lot of games together. Some of our go-to games for the original Nintendo was Super Mario Brothers because it was Mario.
It was Mario.
We would also compete in Duck Hunt. We would alternate to see who could get the furthest in the levels than the other. So one person would go and see how many levels he can go. Like, I think the highest Trey got was like to level 26 or 27, and I think I got it to level 25. He was actually very good.
And you're like, asshole.
Hey, brothers fight, right?
Yep.
One game we specifically played a lot when we were kids was a Nintendo game called Anticipation. Have you ever heard of it before?
I actually remember that game, but I'm trying to remember what it was. I do remember the name. Was it that game that had like little drawing games on it?
Yes.
And stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So, this game was developed by Rare, the guys who did Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, and Conker's Bad Fur Day. Well, in 1988, they developed what Nintendo dubbed Nintendo's first video board game. Trey and I would play this game all the time. It was so fun. You land on a, what was it? You can have up to 4 players, which was actually pretty revolutionary for the Nintendo back then. You had to actually get the 4-player adapter in order to plug 4 controllers in, because the system only came with 2 controller ports. But the game was like a combination between Pictionary and Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
You land on a color square, and each color represents a category. A pencil draws what the object is, and if you think you know what the answer is, you hit a button, and then you have to spell out the word of what you think it is. And if you guess and spell the word correctly, spelling is extremely important in this game, you win that color square. And if you get all 4 colors, you teleport to a new board, and the first person to get past all 3 boards wins. It was extremely addicting as a kid. I swear to God, I spent more hours on this game than I can remember on other games.
I used to play that with my neighbor across the street.
See?
My neighborhood friend when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Early neighborhood co-op, dude. It's really fun. It's really fun. But yeah, this game was extremely addicting as a kid, especially when all we had for entertainment back in the late 80s was a television with limited channels, real board games, and a Nintendo Entertainment System. But yeah, I had a lot of memories playing that game. Other games we played a lot were Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, because that's a 2-player co-op. Super Mario Bros. 3, also 2-player co-op. And Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. What's nice is Chip 'n Dale and Ninja Turtles, you can play at the exact same time. Mario, you alternate between Mario and Luigi between levels. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was with my stepbrother Trey when we were kids. Our family grew in the early 90s when my mom had another kid. Trey and I got a new brother, and his name is Sam. Sam was around 5 years old or so, and he used to love watching me play Super Mario RPG. Sam couldn't read yet, and Super Mario RPG is extremely text-heavy.
Yes, that it is.
Role-playing games in the early 90s was nothing but text. These days,
but it had so many colors.
It had great colors, man. Dude, kids these days got it made, though, because you get RPGs with full voice acting now. Back in the day, you had to read it. But it was Mario, and this is what Sam and I did for bonding. When he was a kid, I would read the text for him on what was happening to the game to get him into it.
Good brother you are.
Well, thank you. But sometimes I took it another step further, though. Sometimes instead of just reading it, I would act it out as it was happening across the screen. And I remember him really loving that, and I enjoyed playing that game for him to see as a young age. And then when he started growing up, he started to discover games on his own, and I used to watch him play games. And he grew up on games like Silicon Valley for the Nintendo 64, and Pikmin for the Nintendo GameCube. And those were games I never got into, but it was cool to watch him play that. Also, when I was in my early teenage years, I used to visit my dad a lot in the summertime, and he remarried and had 2 more kids, which is my brother and my sister. I used to play video games with my brother Alex all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have memories of playing Donkey Kong Country and Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo.
Flawless victory.
And as soon after we both became adults, Alex and I would play a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 and 2 together. We'd set up 2 gaming consoles and 2 TVs in the same room and just annihilate until the crack of dawn, and it was awesome. I watched my brother Alex become an amazing quick-scope, no-scope player, and Derp, I know you remember this.
I used to 1v1 with him all the time for practice.
Exactly. My brother would get nothing but flawless victories left and right in many of the matches, and in the early days of Paradigm Gaming, I used to record his gameplay and post them on our YouTube channel, and we called it Montage Warfare. It was amazing. It was great times. We had a lot of fun with that.
And you did one where it was specifically Mario noises for everything?
I had a lot of fun with that. I saw somebody do a Call of Duty montage, and it was replacing all the sound effects with something, and I'm like, I want to do one. I want to do that replaces everything with Mario sound effects, and it was a lot of fun. You guys can find that in our Paradigm Archives section of our YouTube channel. It's called Montage Warfare. You can Google that. You also asked the question, do they game with you now, and do you wish they did more or less? All of the family I've gamed with growing up, I have fond memories over my lifetime, but I don't really game with any of my family members anymore, because my family is scattered across the United States and whatnot. So,
but I'm your family.
Yes, I play with you, Derp. Absolutely. Sure, online gaming is a thing, but everyone leads different lives and schedules, and it just doesn't work out a lot. Part of it is sad. It's life. People grow and people change, but again, that's okay. But I game with you, Derp. You are family, and I enjoy playing games with you.
Yay!
I also game with my wife.
That is true.
There are times where I play games and she just likes to watch while she knits or cross stitches, and then there are other times where we actually play games together, like Borderlands.
Or Mario Party.
It's true. We played Mario Kart Party, and we're still together. But we've played Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel, and currently playing 3 together. And yes, we do like the Mario Party games, and we got so obsessed with Mario Party, we've collected every single Mario Party game that ever existed. We have them all. I'm sure I'm missing one somewhere, but we have 99.999% every Mario Party game out there, and it's pretty awesome. My brother Sam, though, we still connect through video games, which is really cool, and we're always texting each other and talking about what games we've played and what we've enjoyed, things like that. And I like that. It's a way we can keep in touch, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. So there's still ways you can game with your family. It was just different growing up in different decades with different technologies and different mediums, and the world's a different place now. So it's not just as simple as like, hey, do you want to play 2-player co-op? I mean, I guess it can be with online, but it just depends on how it works out.
They're with you in spirit.
Exactly. So yeah, that's my story with family and gaming.
So what you just learned here today is that Blue has an insanely large family.
Yeah. Well, Derptaku, gaming with family. Did you grow up with members of your family gaming? Do they game with you now? Do you wish they did more or less? Tell me things. Tell us things.
When I grew up, I was an only child, so there wasn't a lot of play between. Once there was like a scene in between where there wasn't a lot of play with family, it was just basically me gaming because Eventually, the parents did split up and all that. Same with you. But when it started out, my parents had an NES, and my mom played Dragon Warrior and beat it before my dad, the original Dragon Warrior, and that upset him. So he never played and finished the game because my mom beat it first.
I know the feels.
And then we had the original Final Fantasy in, I want to say it was did Final Fantasy have a silver case? I feel like Final Fantasy had a silver case at one point. Maybe it didn't.
The original Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because we had the original Final Fantasy, we had the original Zelda, and the original, or then we had Bubble Bobble, and then Dragon Warrior.
Nice.
Those were the main games we had. So I played Dragon Warrior. I never really fully got into it. I couldn't understand it because I was so young and how to get through things. Because it was pretty much you had to read everything, and I wasn't that attentive. But then Final Fantasy was about the same idea. I got through like the beginning and never finished that. Oh, hey, we're starting a trend here right from the beginning of the early age.
Haven't finished games since 1984.
Pretty much. But then Bubble Bobble, that one's not really beatable. It is, but there's like 100 floors or something like that, or 100 levels. And I think I got up to the 90s somewhere.
Back where games were points-based.
Yeah, Bubble Bobble, though. 2 little dragons that blew bubbles.
It's cute.
And then you enveloped enemies in those bubbles, and then you popped them, or something like that. Yep, little kaijus. But then Legend of Zelda I played through. I did actually do that, because it really wasn't a lot of text to that. It was just adventuring and figuring stuff out. And that was a lot of fun. But as far as that was my gaming with parents, they would sit down, they'd play, they'd watch. But the main, like, playing games with family was with my dad when we built my first computer, and before even that, when we were playing on his computer in our first house, we would play TIE Fighter.
This rebel stronghold has no hope of escape. Commence the attack. Yes, sir.
And MechWarrior, the first MechWarrior game. We'd always play that, and we'd alternate missions and play together. And we eventually did beat that, and then we continued and got MechWarrior 2. And then eventually I got my own computer and got TIE Fighter on that. I started playing games on my own, like Space Ace, Dragon's Lair 2. I actually have a big love for those games. The push a certain direction at a certain time to run the story, and it's just one big cartoon. Those were always fun.
I used to watch you play Dragon's Lair a lot. Those were fun.
Those games are fun. They're still fun. There's actually one on Sega CD called Samurai or Ninja Scroll.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about Ninja
Samurai's Wrath
Scroll.
or something like that. It's like it's a samurai anime game.
Yeah.
But it's one big just anime movie that you press the directions and hopefully don't die. But no, that was fun. So aside from that, it was mainly just gaming with my neighborhood friend until eventually moved to the new city and started making new friends in elementary school, and really kind of just did a lot of gaming on my own. I didn't play a ton of games with other people. There were occasions where I went over to a friend's house and we played a couple RPGs, or I watched them play RPGs, because that's what they were into as well.
Yeah.
Aside from that, that's a family thing, though. Family, it comes to me like 5 or 6 years ago. I gave my mom a computer.
Aww.
And a copy of WoW.
Wow.
And a subscription for 3 months. So she could play with her boyfriend at the time. And
what happened to those 3 months, Derp?
I thought she'd only play for a month or two and then drop it, because gaming like that really wasn't her thing. Well, that long later, to this day, she's still playing.
She is. She
is still playing World of Warcraft right now, and she doesn't do any of the dungeons in that. She just plays the PvE content in that. But what's funny is she's on a PvP realm with one of her characters, and she gets upset when she gets killed. I'm like, well, why are you on the server? Oh, because that's where they are, or the people she knows are. I'm like, Well, then why don't you play on another server from now? But no, I do play with my mom occasionally on that when we get the time. And that's about as much as gaming goes. My dad doesn't game anymore. He used to back when it was earlier graphics, not as many buttons and stuff like that. But if he game more, that would be kind of cool, but not necessary. We're past that time in life. I'm having fun with my single-player games and co-op with friends online.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, though, Derp.
Yeah.
That is really
Big
cool.
thing is, my mom's a nerd and she plays WoW.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I would like to give a shout out, though, to Don Defrag.
Ah, yes, because he is the one that brought up the idea for topics of discussion for the community to put up. This is actually his topic. So shout out to Don for bringing this topic up because it's a good one and it's full of feels and emotions and it gets real deep right in the little heart space.
Yep, that's where that hits you right here. Right here. Derp, thank you for sharing. That was really cool.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for sharing yours.
Absolutely.
Even though I actually did already know half of that.
Yeah, we have stories,
but they
man.
didn't.
We have stories. They didn't, but that's awesome. That's awesome. But the community has stories as well, and a lot of you have graciously shared your past stories with us, and it was really, really fun to read. The first one comes from Eclair. Eclair says, if we talk about family, my godfather had a PS1 in the 90s. End of the 90s and early 2000s were my first play with someone years. My real first memory was from 1997 when I got my first computer. I had 50 mini flash style of games on it, and I played it with my father all night long.
Flash games.
Flash games were a lot of fun. I liked them. So, my godfather got some games for me, and I can name the first one. Pandemonium. After that, my godfather got older, and I had many years without family gaming. But when my nephew got older, he turned out to like games as well. I got him into games like Stardew Valley, Slime Rancher, Pajama Sam, and more. Now he's almost 12 and he loves to play Fortnite with people, but it's cool because when I'm there with him, we play games together or he watches me play games. And last but not least, Mom got more flexible with the fact that I'm almost 30 and still clinging on to video games. We watch sometimes walkthroughs together or funny videos from Hungarian YouTubers who is not yelling but translate almost everything as Mom doesn't speak English. She really likes the cinema style games like Resident Evil 7 and Until Dawn. She dislikes she dislikes Men of Medan.
Why?
That's
it was very weird to run through.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun on our Extra Life event.
It was fun with multiple people, yes, but it was different than Until Dawn. Vastly different. But thank you for sharing, Claire. That was really cool.
So next on the list is All Man Zero.
Zero
wins. Make sure to catch him on his normal streaming days, which are kind of random, but make sure to catch him during the week at twitch.tv/0wins. That's twitch.tv/0wins, and that's 0 with an X, people.
Bullshit. Love you, Zero.
Okay. Anyways, I was pretty much the only gamer in the house growing up, and I still am. We would occasionally play party music games like SingStar and Buzz Quiz TV for special occasions, but that was it. I definitely wish they gamed with me more, but they just weren't into it as much as I was. At least at times, they seemed to be interested in some of the games I played and would ask questions. It was better than not taking any interest at all.
I feel you on that one, absolutely.
Yeah. It's good that they actually take interest.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Absolutely. Next up, we have Don Defrag. Growing up, I always had a gaming partner, but it wasn't a sibling. It was my mom. She's why I'm a gamer. We spent countless hours of playing NES and SNES. Gaming wasn't really my dad's thing, but he would humor me and join me for a few rounds of something. Some games he would get into because we made it a competition, like Deer Hunter. All of us, however, enjoyed family game nights with various classic board/party games. Sorry, Monopoly, Yahtzee, poker, Mad Gab. I appreciated all of it. Nowadays, however, neither games as much. Mom still loves her retro titles and phone games. Alien Isolation relit the fire in her, though, so hopefully I can finish this refurb PC soon. For those of you who don't know, Don Defrag loves to build PCs.
Yep.
Other family members would try games with me or us kids when we were all together, but none of us transitioned into gaming together online.
And by the way, I just want to say, Don, you and your mom playing Alien Isolation the other day was adorable.
That was really cool, actually. Got to watch you guys geek out and react over all the scares.
So 8-Bit said, me and my mom were all about the NES and SNES. That was about all the statement was, but that is pretty cool if you just got to game with your mom on the NES and SNES.
Hell yeah.
They're fun systems. And I know I didn't grow up with an SNES, but I have played them. And there were a lot of good games on it.
Oh, yes.
And then our lovely penguin lady, Cow. I grew up playing video games with Pops. Pops is awesome, by the way. He's the one that got me into gaming. We used to play the Command & Conquer games, Oni, Age of Mythology, and Age of Empire, and lots of RTS games. And I said "and" twice in that, and I am greatly hating my grammar.
If you want,
but
you
deal
can,
with
you
it,
can
chat.
re-record it, or
no,
I can
chat
edit
gets to deal with it. Sometimes we still play games together, not often. I do wish we had more time to play video games together, but we are both busy adults. But I do remember when I first started going into Kel's streams was when she was playing with her dad and playing Ark.
Yeah, they did play Ark a lot.
Ark is actually pretty cool. I've never fully gotten into it. I tried playing it last week a little bit.
Yeah.
And it would be way more fun with people.
Next up, we have Indigo Rogue. My dad and I used to play co-op games on the NES like Super C and Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. Hell yeah. Chippendale Rescue Rangers is the shit. Trust me.
Yeah.
I used to play it a lot. I was never good at Super C. I'm still kind of bad at it. Same with Contra 3, the Alien Wars. Fun fact, my mom actually got rid of the Contra games and any shooters we owned because she didn't like how scary they were. Now Super C is one of the most highly priced collector's items. Wow, that sucks. We'd spend time at Funkoland before it became GameStop years down the road, looking for more two-player games. We picked up a Atari Classic Anniversary for the PS2, but he fizzled out of video games by that point, and I was more of a gamer than him. I think he started to live vicariously through me once I picked up on gaming. My dad ended up getting a Star Wars arcade machine that Sue fizzled out and never got repaired, but most of my childhood was spent at a place called My Three Sons that would be like the equivalent of today's Chuck E. Cheese or Dave & Buster's. But other than that, both of my parents have always been into board games like Humble, Trivial Pursuit, Monopoly, Aggravation, etc.
And she just reminded me of another gaming hood memory.
What's that?
Always, like every weekend when I was with my dad after my parents separated, we would go to Van's Amusement Center in downtown Puyallup.
Oh.
When it was like an arcade that was down there.
Yeah.
And we would go there and he'd put $20 in the machine, give me half of them, and we'd go play games for an hour or two. And
that's
then
really cool.
Go home. I completely forgot about that until she mentioned the arcade. I'm like, oh my god, used to go to the arcade all the time with my dad.
Hell yeah.
And that was fucking awesome. And then she mentioned Funko Land too. I'm like, oh my god, I remember Funko Land. And then that brought, oh yeah, Electronic Boutique.
I loved Electronics Boutique. I also love Software Etc. I miss that store the most.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun.
Which are now all GameStop.
Unfortunately. Thank you for sharing, Indy. You just
but that's
brought
okay. Reggie owns them now.
Well,
or he's on the board of directors.
He's a board member, but he's still involved in it. But thank you for sharing, Indy, because that definitely brought memories for us reading that.
Yep. And then a wonderful little tar troll. Most people know I grew up without video games, religious reasons, so I am late to the gaming in general, but now I get to play with my family, my Twitch-chosen family.
Aww, that's awesome.
Aww. I always say watching me play on stream is watching a child play for the first time and getting to watch that amazement and wonder, seeing someone get to play it with wide-eyed wonder, and it's actually true, and it's adorable.
It is adorable.
I may be late to the gameplay and really crappy at it, but I get to play with and for those who at least pretend to like me. And Tar, we don't pretend.
Tar, we definitely don't pretend. We love you. You're fantastic.
Tar, you're adorable.
You are adorable. Please keep gaming, and don't let anyone hold you back. And next up, we have our lovely lady squirrel mama, Idana. And she says, as many of you know, I never owned a console growing up. All my gaming was either PC or board games. When we visited people, my sisters would sometimes play things like Mario, and my older sister would play some original Sims in high school. Now, my mom wasn't into PC or console gaming, but she loved board games. It's because of her that I love board games so much. My dad isn't really into any games whatsoever. He will humor me or my stepmom and join in sometimes. I wish they had been more interested. Thankfully, my wonderful husband loves games as much as I do. C and I love to game together. It's always fun when we're able to play a game together. And I 150% agree. Those who play together stay together. Thanks, Adana. Thanks for sharing. That was awesome. Video game soundtracks. What are your favorite tracks? Maybe even a favorite soundtrack overall? Derp, we're going to start with the community on this one. There are a lot of soundtracks to cover, and there are a lot of responses. And this is one of my favorite topics that we decided to do, and I can't wait to dive in. What do we got?
I know, because you're just a lover of music.
Big
Much
time.
like Shoko. You and Shoko.
Really?
Yeah, Shoko's a huge dude. If you ever want to talk about game music or anything in general that involves music, just talk to Shoko.
All right,
He'll
I'll have
talk
to
your
do that.
ear off, I'm sure.
I will talk anybody's ear off about video game soundtracks.
But Eclair. So, I'm very picky with music in general. I have a video game music folder with 127 songs, that's all. Those are mainly one-to-one songs from games, such as Crash Bandicoot's Coco song, Ling Xiaoyu's song from Tekken 3, Mafia 3's trailer song, Backstrobe I'm a Man, and Warframe's Lift Together trailer song, which the Warframe song is actually really good. It's a Western theme type song because that was kind of what they were going for with the trailer, and the land that they were going to be in. It was for Fortuna, I think.
Okay.
Or it was one of the updates for Warframe.
Okay.
But very mixed, absolutely not connected to the fact that I like the game or not, or I even tried the game or not. Now you could ask which game has the best OST for me? Easy. Tropico 1 and 2, which I've never actually listened to Tropico music because it's not my type of game. I've never even tried.
Same.
And I have the best shanties from Assassin's Creed 4 as well.
Oh, the Assassin's Creed shanties. That's awesome.
Now you're ready to sail for the horn. Play, roll and go. Our boots and our clothes, boys, are all in the horn. To be rollicking randy.
Well, it sounds like Eclair likes a variety of different type of video game music, and that is really cool to hear. Eclair, thank you for sharing that.
Mentioning it on Tekken 3 reminded me of one song that is so good. So good.
Yeah?
From the Tekken series, and that was Tekken 7's main menu music.
Really?
It was called Solitude. It is so cool. It is so melodic to listen to.
Hell yeah. Very cool. Well, next up, we have Don Defrag. And he says, a good soundtrack is, in my opinion, a requirement of a great game. That is true. Music impacts a huge chunk of the game. I'll list a few that I can think of that really worked well and why. Ooh, this is good. All right, number 1, Lost Ember. Here's a great story-driven game with elements of exploration and collection. The soundtrack captures every mood from happy and light while exploring. 2 dramatic as story elements were revealed. Number 2, The Witcher 3. Each expansion got an additional soundtrack. All of them fit so well into the world, the mood, and the characters they represent. This is one of the few games I watched a recorded concert for. A story can be told with just the music. Damn.
Witcher music is great. Witcher music's really good.
Sounds like it. Toss a coin to your Witcher. Number 3, Monster Hunter World. This one here is my current favorite. Minigames have wonderful sound design, and I could make a long list, but Monster Hunter World music just takes a fun experience up to 11 for me. Mounting a monster is fun. Mounting one with a soundtrack makes you feel like a damn hero. The mood can go from peaceful to stressful as soon as you hear the music change, especially if you don't see the big set of teeth behind you. Know why your character doesn't speak in this game? The music does it for you. Damn,
Pretty much.
That just gave me chills just reading. I'm also going to throw in the original Guild Wars soundtrack out there. One of the few I cared enough to buy for many reasons I mentioned above. After countless hours over many years, I still enjoy listening to it. Well done, Jeremy Soule.
The Guild Wars 2 soundtrack is pretty good too.
He also mentions, too, music from all of these games are in my playlists. Hell yeah. Well said, Don. Well said.
Foxy. I can't really come up with much in the way of favorite specific tracks, but for overall soundtracks, I'd have to name Tyranny, Pathfinder Kingmaker, and both Pillars of Eternity, which actually, those games are all about the same idea, too. They're very text-heavy, like over-the-top, overhead strategy RPGs.
Okay. Cool.
They're movement-based, and then you have action points, and you make movements, and you have to be very strategic in your movement.
Strategery.
Something about the orchestral fantasy music is always enjoyable to me, and I agree.
They go together like peanut butter and jelly. Thanks for sharing, Foxy.
See, this time I got a clear, now you get 0.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Mr. Zero wins. Oh boy, I have so many. It's hard to name them all. Some of my favorite tracks are from the Final Fantasy franchise. It's hard to be specific, but some tracks from 15, Crisis Core, and now Final Fantasy VII Remake OSTs are my favorite. The Blazing Tactician from 15 episode Ignis. And Blazing Through the Battlefield from Crisis Core. Well, these are 2 examples. Moving away from Final Fantasy now, Doom, Code Vein, and Nioh 2's OSTs are more recent albums that I enjoy a lot.
Nioh.
Nioh?
Nioh.
Nioh? Nino Kuni?
Yes, sure.
Nioh, yeah. In the end, there's just too many to name, and picking favorites is hard. Well, Zero, it sounds like you picked some really awesome tracks right there, and I agree with just about every one of them.
More specifically with Doom, just anything that involves, oh my god, I blanked on his name. And now he's not even working for him anymore. They disowned him.
Mick Gordon?
Yeah, Mick Gordon.
Yeah.
That guy. They disowned him.
Well, apparently they were having issues.
He's apparently very difficult to work with.
Yeah, he may make great music, but apparently he is a difficult person to work with. And from what I'm reading on the internet, I'm sure there's more going on than what the internet says, but we'll never know.
There's 2 sides to every story, but at the same time, he could just be an ass.
That's true. It's true. Speaking of Mick Gordon, Derp, read the next one.
RJW 2016. We don't need the 2016, we just know it's RJ. Anything by Mick Gordon, composer for games like Doom, Killer Instinct, and the Guilty Gear soundtracks. Absolutely fucking kick-ass! The best standouts would easily be Inferno from Killer Instinct, yes. BFG division out of Doom. I can't remember which one that is, but the main one I always remember is Rip and Tear.
Oh, yeah.
And probably Shotgun and Head from Guilty Gear.
Hell,
I don't know the Guilty Gear music that well. I have a Guilty Gear game, I just don't know the music that well. But it does have good music that I've heard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next up, we have Indigo Rogue. Well, this is a topic that basically got me into wanting to be a part of the film scores at college, and I realized it a little too late. But I did have opportunities to play some mock-ups of video games, like Pikmin. Halo ODST is still my main favorite. It's still a soundtrack I'll always venture back to because of how soothing the majority of the cues are. Another one would be Final Fantasy XIII soundtrack, which I ended up buying at PAX East for a good chunk of money. The game may get a lot of flack, but the soundtrack is gorgeous and well orchestrated. Close thirds, Fallout, Ori, and LA Noire.
LA Noire and Ori both have amazing soundtracks.
Indeed. And I will throw this out there too. I'm not a big fan of Final Fantasy XIII personally, but I do know it has an amazing soundtrack. I have it. I have it. And it's got some great tunes. Final Fantasy franchise always comes out with some great music.
Indeed it does.
And next we have Andrew. A good soundtrack really makes a game memorable. Nintendo keeps sound design on point for nearly all their games. It's that extra polish that really makes a game shine. Everyone has favorites, but I can't think of another company that has the musical variation and recognition of Nintendo games, except for maybe Square Enix. As for my favorite soundtrack, that would have to be Zelda Wind Waker. Every area you approach in that game has great music, from the intro, the islands, and even the atmosphere of the dungeons. Traveling the sea makes you really feel like it's a big adventure that one is a part of. All of this can be said for many other Zelda games and Nintendo games, even back to the original and handheld consoles. I've also mentioned games like Undertale, with making an iconic soundtrack to go with an unexpected game. Well said, Andrew. That's awesome.
And our last little squirrel mama, Idana. I'm only going to list the games I've actually played and not just watched. I feel it makes a difference for me personally, which it can. It can actually playing the game when the music triggers can trigger certain emotions, and I don't know, it would affect you more.
Absolutely.
So, Hollow Knight. The music in this game is beautiful, epic in some places, and so very haunting. City of Tears is one of them, which I fully agree. City of Tears is amazing.
I fully agree, too.
Also, on that note, Nightmare King Grim, which you still haven't fought.
I know.
It makes you feel to your very core. Maybe some of this comes from just loving the game so much. It's one of her top 5.
Nice.
But the music just hits me whenever I hear it.
I'm going to actually have to agree with that. The music is one of the things I love about this game. And when I was playing this, when I just wanted to feel like I wanted something calming and soothing, the atmosphere in this game is amazing, but the music is what drives that. And Hollow Knight has an amazing soundtrack. I actually listen to it a lot on Spotify.
Sweet deal. The Witcher 3, another one. I think a game whose music is stuff I would just listen to, lots of folk and Celtic feel to it. Fits the world that was so beautifully crafted in the books.
Nice.
Very much so. Ori and the Blind Forest, this OST, damn. The things it makes you feel, similarly to Hollow Knight. Both games are very different, as is the music, but it touches me in very similar ways. Just sort of speaks to me. Which Ori is very heavy orchestral and very beautiful, soothing, soft. You'd enjoy that game.
A lot of people say I would enjoy that game.
100%, that is one of your games.
Well, let me just say, when it comes to Ori and the Blind Forest, the first time I saw a trailer for the first game before they released it, I had feels from the trailer because of its music and its visuals. So I can see how impactful it can be.
Yeah.
One of these days I'll get around to that game.
And I'm a sucker for great music. I'd also have to give honorable mentions to VVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVVV low budget platformer.
Oh, good, because I was going to ask you what that game was.
I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, it's on my Steam somewhere.
Okay.
Civilization 4 and Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, League of Legends goes into a special category because there isn't in-game music, but the company Riot has hired some amazing people to create music.
Nice.
Which is true. Like KDA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That song that Gertrude loves a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that song.
Yeah, that song.
I hear it a lot.
Now you're going to hear it for the rest of the Cogcast.
Probably.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for sharing all of your guys' personal thoughts on music and what really inspires you and drives you and gives you all of the feels. It's actually really cool to see everyone's different perceptions and interpretations on what really, really grabs the music. Music's really important to me, and video games especially, so seeing other people's points of view was a highlight for me. It was a highlight for me. Thank you.
Video game soundtracks, Blue. What are your favorite tracks? Maybe even a favorite soundtrack overall.
All right, Derp.
Blue?
This topic is very important to me because music is very important to me. Okay, I found this part challenging. I'm obsessed particularly with video game soundtracks. I will tell you what my favorite tracks are, for sure. But before I do that, I would like to share a couple of things that are personal to me to show why this topic is important to me. All right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got into video game music at a very young age. The haunting melodies of Kraid's Lair in the first Metroid on NES. The theme from the first Dr. Wily stage in Mega Man 2. Or the intensity found in the first level of Michael Keaton's Batman game on the NES. Dude. Music grabbed me. Video game music specifically. Video game music grabbed me at an early age. Those songs are amazing, and they you don't just play the game, you feel the game with music like that. But when our family got a Super Nintendo, I noticed music got even better. Some of my all-time favorite soundtracks that I like to still listen to today come from many of the Super Nintendo games I grew up with. My top being Super Metroid, with its ambient, relaxing, and sometimes even haunting atmosphere. That's what the game creates so well, is atmosphere. The theme to the Lower Brinstar is probably my all-time favorite. I also love the many variations it turned into in the future Metroid titles. I even use the Super Nintendo version as an alarm on my cell phone to wake me up in the morning. It's that good. It slowly wakes you up. Slowly.
Slowly. But surely.
These days, we have amazing access to video game soundtracks right on our fingertips, like Spotify, Apple Music, and more. But when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, not so much. It wasn't really something that they just sold back then. To get my musical fill, I would sometimes go to a level in a video game and not even play the level. I just let the song keep playing in the background. You remember Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, Derp?
Yeah.
Yeah. That device that Macaulay Culkin's character had, the Talk Boy, It was a cassette player and a recorder, complete with a pop-out microphone. I got that for my birthday one year, and I used that device to record video game songs onto my own cassette tapes. I would go to a level in, say, Donkey Kong Country, and put the microphone up to the television speaker, press record, and then hold the device for a few minutes, or as long as I possibly could. And then I'd have the song with me at all times, and I can listen to it whenever I wanted.
I've heard that story so much.
Well, everyone listening hasn't, and this is why I was excited to talk about this topic.
I know.
Look, I worked really hard to get my music back then, man. Really hard. I was that dedicated. When we were teenagers, Derp, we used to visit a website. I forgot what it was called. I don't know if you can remember it, but it was a website where you could import video game soundtracks from Japan.
Oh, God, I don't.
This was late 90s, dude. This was late 90s, early 2000s. And that's okay. I can't remember for the life of me either. And as soon as I started Googling it, I got so many different search results, and I think it's just lost with time. It has to be. But on the website, you couldn't listen to the tracks and test them out like you can today. All it had was just CD cover art and a price listing. And I remember the pricing and the shipping was expensive because these are imported directly from Japan, but I really wanted to try it. You and I both did. You and I tested out, and we both bought the soundtrack to Resident Evil 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember geeking out with you so damn hard when we both got copies in the mail. We popped in our CDs and our portable CD players, and we were wowed. We were listening to the music that's in the game, and that was the coolest memory ever. Seriously. It was also around that time that Napster blew up. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's when we discovered how to download songs for the first time. I discovered that there was a huge listing for video game soundtracks. I found the soundtrack to Resident Evil 3 and the soundtrack to Resident Evil Code Veronica on Napster. And I remember sitting at the family computer, downloading every track, making sure it went through and that it worked. But downloading took a long time to do back then because this is late 90s bandwidth speeds.
Yep. 3 megabytes was a bitch.
Yes, it was. And I remember staring at my screen, waiting for that loading bar to finish all the way to the end. I was that dedicated.
And you sat there and watched it.
I did. And I was also listening to the last track that I just downloaded while the next one downloaded.
Multiple times.
Yes. But because of how small hard drives were back then, I had to store these soundtracks on zip disks. For those of you too young to know what zip disks are, it was a floppy disk storage system.
It was a thick. It was a floppy disk with thickness.
It was really thick. It wasn't those little tiny thin, paper thin, giant record-sized discs. These were small.
It was a 3.5 that was like double the width, triple the width of a regular one.
Exactly. And what was nice about the zip disks, though, they gave you a few size options. Get this, and people are going to laugh when I say this. A disc with 100 megabytes, or 250 megabytes, or 750 megabytes, which back then, guys, was a lot of space. Back then. You had to put the discs in the zip drive, which was connected to your PC, and you can access your files that way. It was almost like what external hard drives are today, but in disk format. And since our hard drive on our PC didn't have much space back then, the discs were the best way to save space. The zip drive. What a time to be alive, man. So as you can see, I was dedicated and serious about my soundtracks, and I still am. I'm always on the hunt for more awesome tunes. I love soundtracks. It's my life. But because I'm sure I have way too many soundtracks that are my favorites to list here, I'll narrow it down to a few notable ones, and that was actually a challenge to do. There's a lot of soundtracks that I absolutely love.
I mean, it's same for me.
All right, well, Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. There's a couple of tracks on that game that that just grabbed me from the start, like Aquatic Ambience. It's a water level, but it's one of the most beautiful sounding water levels you'll ever hear in a video game. Fear Factory. Fear Factory was a really cool level. It was a toxic waste industrial level, and it had one of the coolest ambient sounds. That was one of the levels I would press pause and just leave it for the longest period of time. And then in Donkey Kong Country 2, Hot Head Hop was in the lava world. One of the most relaxing tunes out there. Donkey Kong Country houses so many relaxing tunes, including Sticker Brush Symphony. That's also a wonderful track from Donkey Kong Country. The Donkey Kong Country series has amazing music, but 1 and 2 spoke to me the most from start to finish, every level.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the soundtracks for Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil Code Veronica. I may have downloaded 3 on Napster back in the day, but the ones that have the most impactful, memorable music was from those 2 games, 2 and Code Veronica. Like your favorite Derp, Annette's theme.
Yeah.
The whole CG cutscene of Umbrella trying to steal the G-Virus from William Birkin was that was like the first track we played when we got that CD.
Yep.
And then there's also the save room theme. Nice, peaceful, quiet, and happy. Code Veronica has a couple of really unique twists in their music. When the first time you see Chris Redfield as he's climbing up the mountain to save Claire, his opening cutscene with his music sounded very heroic and epic. Not to mention the heroic music at the end of the game. It's amazing. Or the Palace of the Insane. Where you meet Alfred Ashford for the first time, and it was kind of like quirky and sadistic and...
Actually, the Code Veronica music in general, like every track on that was good.
Yeah. One of my favorite soundtracks is to a game I've never finished, Chrono Cross. I've listened to the soundtrack more than I've played the game.
I actually don't doubt that's everyone's case.
Chrono Cross houses some amazing music, and 2 of my favorites are Shore of Dreams, Another World. And Forest of Cutting Shadows.
Scars of Time.
Scars of Time's okay, but the 2 I just listed were my favorites. I'm also a huge fan of the Metroid franchise.
No!
I narrowed it down to 3 games. Super Metroid, Metroid Prime 1, and Metroid Prime 2, and I picked 1 of each. That were my favorites. Bryn Star. Talon Overworld and Metroid Prime 1. And Torvus Bog in Metroid Prime 2. Those all have some music that speaks to the entire franchise. Now that I listed some cute, fun, and quirky ones, now I get to specific ones that are actually a little bit more intense. I love the soundtracks to the entire Silent Hill series.
Akira Yamaoka, dude.
Yes. If there is one series that I have spent more time listening to than any other game out there for its music, it would be from the Silent Hill series. Now, if I have to specifically pick one album from the series, I would obviously pick Silent Hill 2. It's one of the best soundtracks in the entire series. However, I am a huge fan overall of Akira Yamaoka. I have been following his work since day one, since Silent Hill 1, and I have been listening to everything he's put out ever since. I have a favorite track in just about every single game Silent Hill and Konami have ever produced, excluding the Pachinko machines. of course.
Are you sure?
I've never played it or heard it, and I think it's probably just shorter renditions of what's already out there. But the mood and atmosphere and raw emotion that the music creates in this series overall is astounding. It's mesmerizing, and it's captivating. And that's one of the reasons why I'm excited for the music for the medium, because he does it so well in every one of his works. And yes, I even love the music from Silent Hill Downpour and Silent Hill Book of Memories from composer Daniel Licht. Now, when Akira Yamaoka left Konami, like a bunch of other people did at the time, unwillingly or willingly, it's Konami after all, Konami still needed a composer for its games. I was excited when they actually hired Daniel Licht, and the reason why I was excited was because he was already a composer for my favorite TV shows at the time. He composed for the show Dexter. And it was a show that features music that has this mood, atmosphere, and raw emotion to it, and it's done very well. And while Akira Yamaoka will always be the sound and soul of the entire Silent Hill series, and nothing will ever replace that, by the way, Daniel Licht still came up with some beautiful pieces that stand out on their own, while still retaining the signature Silent Hill mood, atmosphere, and raw emotion. Downpour surprised me more than I expected to for this game, but the biggest thing I took away from the game was its music. And I guess what I felt about the different composer overall was this. It was nice to hear Silent Hill from a different perspective. And his perspective and signature sound gave me quite a memorable experience for Downpour, which is why I think it's one of the most underrated Silent Hill games, and why it's one of my favorites. But overall, Silent Hill is fucking great.
I actually haven't played Downpour at all. I've just watched you play a touch of it. I gotta say, my favorite Silent Hill 4 song is sadly one of their most depressing ones, and that's Room of Angel. Silent Hill 4, the room opening.
Yeah, that's a great song. It is very sad.
I don't care enough for you to cry. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes.
You know, that game was actually surprisingly good by the time I finally beat it.
The gameplay just sucked ass.
It really did, and I actually had to use a guide at that point because they didn't make things obvious. But when you beat it, and I got the story, and it was actually, I was like, wow, that actually was pretty good. The gameplay was terrible. Now, the most impactful and notable soundtrack that I put in this category of its very own, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. This soundtrack is near and dear to me. This game and its soundtrack, while amazing in its own right, helped me find my own musical sound to the songs that I write. Now, for those of you who may not know, I compose my own music with an acoustic guitar. Shameless promoting.
You said it, not me.
But that being said, seriously, before I started creating songs of my very own, I used to listen and learn how to play many songs from the Crisis Core soundtrack. The acoustic guitar melodies were a huge source of inspiration, and on their own, they're just beautiful by themselves. They're absolutely amazing. Roaming in the Afternoon Sun. Under the Apple Tree. Night of Seclusion, Wandering Under the Moonlight, or The Price of Freedom. Those specific tracks you guys should go hunt down and find. It's on Spotify at least. It's some of the best music in the entire game. And I actually feel that many of my own songs stand to reflect Crisis Core in a sense that I don't think I would have been able to find my own sound without it. I have a variety of different types of songs, but there are many tracks that I feel like could have been a part of this game. And I feel like my sound is, in a sense, a sort of homage or a nod, if you will, to the game. And for those of you who might be interested in listening to my music, you can find it under the artist name iAwakening on Spotify and Apple Music. I have been writing songs for over 11 years and just put out a new single called The Present Moment just last February. And that's probably one of the most recent tracks that I have in memory that reminded me of Crisis Core a lot. But the music in Crisis Core is it's just as impactful to me then as it is today, and it stands out among to be one of my favorite things to listen to. Still.
It's good music, people. Just go listen.
It really is.
Not Crisis Core, your music.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you.
He's blushing.
I am blushing. All right, that's all I have, though. That's my story. Well, kind of. It's more like a taste, really, because I can actually talk all day about video games and soundtracks, honestly. Or even just soundtracks in general, because it's kind of my thing, but...
This was his story.
It was. Thank you for letting me share this. This topic was very important to me, and I feel better talking about it, letting it out, and sharing it, because feelings and emotions and music.
He was all words and emotions.
What about you, Derp? What do you got?
I have a lot of things from many ages. It's really hard to just pin down one thing, of course, or, favorite soundtrack, or just... So, games start out, like, they don't have any kind of emotion building for me. Like, when it comes to games like the old NES games or Sega Genesis games, NES, Super NES, any of those games, they have music. But with the fact that they're bit music, 8-bit, 16-bit, they're not orchestral in a sense.
Yeah.
They're done electronically. They don't hold the same kind of emotional value to me for whatever reason. But when games started gaining the ability to put in full orchestral, I felt that started to push the envelope towards being able to portray emotion and stuff like that, and made it much deeper. But, like, of course, my favorite soundtracks are always going to be the first ones I listen to, or at least what got me into gaming music, and obviously Shining Force. Shining Force music, I absolutely love the Shining Force music, whether or not it's only 10 seconds of music repeated on a loop, whatever, that's fine. Diablo. The original Diablo.
Oh.
On PC when that game came out, 97?
January 1997.
Oh, it was 97 then. Okay. So, with Diablo, I still, like, if I start up Diablo 1, which I did on one of my PC gaming streams, I played Diablo 1, I think. Because I know I started it up recently, and just the beginning music when you hit Tristram, the guitar, the light guitar that plays at the beginning still gives me chills. Just from, A, nostalgia, and 2, the music is just daunting. It was the first music that I heard that was actual guitar. Then you get down into the church and it starts doing that, like, that stomped style music. Just like a bunch of thumps and thuds of people stomping to a beat. And it's very daunting, and the dungeon's dark. It's a very daunting and very fitting music for just being in the depths of basically hell. but you're in the church, and it's just, the music to Diablo was so good. And it was, like I said, the first time I had instrumental music, and that's what I realized, that music could be that emotional, or it could trigger that sense of emotion in you. Where I'd never had that feeling with the old 8-bit music and the 16-bit music on the old systems. It just never triggered me that way. Like, yeah, scenes were sad, but I never triggered any kind of emotion like that.
Okay.
I don't know. It just, yeah, I could read a story and it was sad. Oh, yeah, but there's something about music that just helps trigger those emotions that make you like, oh, shit. Which would bring me to, like, Crisis Core. The end, where the music starts fighting alone against the army and things start going fucked up, and that track that plays, it's just like, oh god.
The track is what I listed. It's called The Price of Freedom, and it does have all of the feels.
Why? I know what's coming. Don't do this to me, game. But then, like, games of recent, like, games of this generation, PS3, Xbox 360, where they're, like, fully, and, like, even PS2 and that, PS1, like, they're pushing out these new, like, all these orchestral tracks and actual instruments, actual scores and stuff like that with the game. And the games that hit me the most, obviously, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, those game soundtracks are amazing. But anything that is giving me just straight up, like, a feels train with the music, Nier Automata. And the music in that game is just so powerful. Like, the music for boss fights, the ending credits music along with what's going on, and just the cue timing for the music in the game in general is brilliant. The game is so good. And hence why I got you the original Nier, which isn't Automata, it's just basically a earlier in the years of Nier.
Oh, yeah. And I have it nicely nestled on the shelf in a case.
And I mean, you don't even have to play that if you played Automata.
Nier Automata.
Yeah, it's like so good. You don't even need to play the first one to understand the second one, though there are little nods to the first game in the new one.
Okay.
But that one's set futuristically, but just that music is so goddamn powerful and so good. But Nier is one of those soundtracks that just, I have like zero words for it. It's just straight up amazing.
No words, just emotions.
Obviously, like games like God of War, just listening to Uncharted, like I haven't played through it myself, but I've watched it.
Yeah.
I've heard the music. The music is just really good. The Last of Us. Games just go orchestral and try to portray these songs of just pure emotion and power, which also brings me to like my last one, where this series is just hands down some of the best choir orchestral music you can get, and that's From Software, Dark Souls. Their music, they don't have any music in between, really. It's all ambience. There's not a lot of music in the zones in particular. There's like light ambience music, but most of it's just you running around fighting. But when you hit a boss, you know it. You know you got to a boss because all of a sudden some choir person's... the music just becomes epic and you feel like a friggin' hero, or like you're in serious about to get fucked up state. You're about to die.
Yeah.
anytime you entered a boss room, especially with Bloodborne, because the music in Bloodborne it was very choir heavy, and it just felt daunting whenever, and almost, I'm trying to think of the word, haunting.
Yeah. Oh,
every time the music started on every boss, it just sounded it was so good, but so powerful and scary, creepy, and the monsters themselves were creepy and scary. So it just added to the fact that, oh shit, you're about to die. And I'm feeling, you feel like a goddamn hero when you win.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Derp, do you remember when they first world premiered the God of War trailer at E3 years ago? 2000 and...
Well, I remember it, but the music I do not.
Basically, when they announced God of War for the first time for everybody to see, they didn't just show a trailer. They began with a full orchestra with the composer for the game.
Oh, that's right.
It was completely pitch black. The lights started to slowly fade on the orchestra members, and you hear the banging of the drums, and you hear the violins starting to get intense, and you hear it. You basically get a feeling of what the game's going to be like. They wanted you to feel the power of this, the sound of this game, before they showed you any visuals, and it was so impactful that by the time they showed anything, I think we were already overhyped and just blown away just by that orchestra specifically. Then that speaks to music. That speaks to music in general, but that also speaks to music in games. The new God of War had a great soundtrack.
Some of the best music is from games.
Absolutely.
Like, I could watch movies day in and day out. Yeah, some of the music tracks are great in movies, but I honestly don't feel that the quality is there compared to games sometimes.
When we were younger, I used to be really big into movie soundtracks, and part of me still is, but I think the older I got, the more video game soundtracks just still got bigger and bigger, and most of my favorite movie soundtracks are from like 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's just...
But my video game library just keeps growing and growing and growing.
But that's, like I said, I cannot pin down, like, specifics when there's just so much great music out there. But I think the main thing that gets me is orchestral. I love orchestral music. If you give me any kind of heavy choir and orchestral, make me feel epic with a sword in my hand, oh, you sold me.
Pretty much.
Actually, I take that back. I do have a favorite soundtrack.
What you got?
I just thought about it. I promote the soundtrack to this game and the game itself. It's a very mediocre JRPG, but the music is so well handled and so good. It's very dubstep-ish heavy and dance techno music heavy, but the music is just so well done for a low-end, like, mediocre RPG that I can't get enough of it. And that was Blue Reflection.
Oh,
Blue Reflection, like, especially the track Tiger. It's TIGAR - Michael. That track in specific, I always throw on, like, music channels and stuff like that because that track is just so damn good.
Nice.
And the music itself is very soothing, very melodic, and even then the boss battles and the fight music becomes like that music, but dubstep, technoized, like electronic style.
Wow.
And it's just really cool music.
I have one specific song that always comes to mind. You remember I told you I used to just go to, when I was a kid, I would pause a video game just to listen to the music of the level. When Final Fantasy 15 came out and I went to the menu system for the first time where you see all 4 of your characters, where you get to do all of your skills and look up all your inventory and your points and all that one. Yeah. The first time I heard the music in that menu system, I think I left it on pause for probably 15 minutes before I got back into the game. That song is beautiful, and it feels so good, and it's on my playlist today that I listen to on repeat often.
Want to hear something scary?
What's that?
Final Fantasy is a game I actually fully beat.
Which one?
Final Fantasy 15.
You actually beat a game?
Yeah, I actually beat Final Fantasy 15 and Episode Gladius and Prompto.
Holy crap! Y'all heard it here, folks. He actually completed a game! Yeah!
Plus some. Hey,
and
let's be real. Let's be real. I did everything in Hollow Knight minus a couple things that are just ridiculous.
That still counts in my book.
But I did 107% Hollow Knight.
You went above and beyond the Call of Duty. You're over 100, yes. Therefore that's 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that make you feel, buddy?
Awesome. But as far as it goes, yeah, like orchestral is my big thing. And I know that may have been random and how I was explaining it, but it was just, it's straight up, it's all emotional. That's where my emotions come from when it comes to music, is just having that heavy choir, heavy amount of stringed instruments and stuff like that. Orchestral.
Derp, you can be no one else but yourself. And that's
exactly.
Okay. I enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing. That's what's up. Final thoughts.
I'm hot. It's really hot in this room. I had to turn off the AC because I don't want it to come through the mic. And I'm hot. That's my final thought.
Just like that, huh?
And music is amazing.
I'm hot, and music is amazing. Somebody put that on a poster. Seriously, though, Derp, what are your final thoughts? What do you got?
This was a good conversation. Again, we do appreciate Don for throwing in this idea for community topics, and we did appreciate his topic. And who actually did the soundtrack thought?
Mine. That was me.
That was you? Okay, well, good job. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
You got feelings out of me.
I did. I got feelings out of you. I didn't even expect that. And I'm like, ooh, where's my popcorn? Where's my popcorn?
See, my big goal, actually, my final thought, my big goal was to just get you to play Nier.
That's your big goal?
No, not really.
I was gonna say,
but I felt with my emotion behind the Automata music that you'd be like, yeah, I got to check this out.
I know I got to check that out, and I will eventually. In about, I think I need another 4 more years. I think that was.
Yeah, it's about right. That's now, about right.
We did do a Nier soundtrack on Soundtrack Saturday when we did that segment a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was a beautiful song. It was one of the boss fights.
Yeah, you selected that song for the Soundtrack Saturday, and I did enjoy it. And I've watched people play Nier. There's just something about the game that hasn't grabbed me yet, but then again, I haven't actually played it.
It's Devil May Cry-ish.
It definitely is Devil May Cry-ish.
It's done by Platinum Games.
I like Platinum Games.
They did Bayonetta.
They did Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, see?
All right. I'll give it a try.
Yeah, what are your final thoughts, sir?
Final thoughts. Well, I'm happy I've been playing more games. I'm happy that we found time to record this Cogcast, because I know with all of us having real-life stuff happen, IRL stuff, we had to rearrange our world around in order to do this. But we found time, and that's all that matters. I'm glad we were able to do that.
We will try to find time again, guys, so we don't know how it's going to work out, considering I have a weird schedule, but we will do everything we can.
Oh yeah, this is not stopping. We're still doing Cogcasts. Don't worry, we'll still do them. We just got to figure out a way to make it work. And so far, we found one. But for my final thoughts, I'm just going to continue to stay chill, still keep up on my hobbies, still hang out with you guys in Discord, and still come up with ideas for the next best thing. But other than that, just keep plugging away like normal. Thank you guys for all of your contributions and participation, and just overall being awesome. These Cogcasts they're so much bigger than we anticipated until you guys, we had an idea what these Cogcasts could be like, but you guys helped make them bigger, so thank you.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for the support. We love you greatly. Make sure to catch us on Twitch when we're live.
Twitch.tv/paradigm_gaming_.
Make sure to go to our website.
www.paradigmgaming.live.
I think that's it, though.
Yeah, we are out of time, but don't worry. We'll see you next time. When?
At the drop of a paradigm. Life's great. Drink Pepsi.
Mum's the word, Bob's your uncle.
Bring your family back from the dead with Pepsi.
Oh.
You're welcome.
I forgot about that one, too. Wow, my mind's a slip today. Okay. Moving on.
I waited to say that until you took the drink. So you play video games, Have you ever played games with your family?
I played games with your mom last night.
Giggity.
I'm sorry. Take two.